Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Olivia, and it's a good one because I feel like it's going to allow us to really kind of unpack a few things and look a bit deeper at what our experience is and how we really come to feel it the way that we feel it. So let me read. I'm going to read a portion of her question because it's a little long. I'm just going to read pieces of it for now. So Olivia says, "Hi, Amy. I watched your Ask Amy video about fear of childbirth. So there was a video, it was about a month ago, from a woman who was going to have a baby right about now, I believe. And she was really afraid of childbirth. So you can look back probably like mid-July, I want to say, is when that one came out. So Olivia watched that one. She says, I'm not currently pregnant, but I'm trying to prepare myself to become pregnant in the near future. I'm struggling with not only fear of childbirth, but also a severe fear of morning sickness. I'm somewhat emetophobic, which just means she has a fear of being sick. In the video, you discussed how the process happens through us, the process of childbirth happens through us, that there's nothing we need to do, and that the body will know what to do. I get what you're saying, but here's what arises for me within that. Lots of things can happen to us, and we can let go and let them happen. But that doesn't mean these things are not extremely painful and traumatizing. The birthing process seems to me like a very violent one. And sure, it will happen regardless of what I do or don't do or what mindset I'm in. But as it will happen, I'm terrified that it will be extremely painful, unbearable, and traumatizing. I'd love to hear your feedback. So again, as you're listening to this, maybe you're done having children, will never have children, not even on the docket for you, that's fine. But what the core of this question is like, okay, so there's something that's going to happen, maybe like nature, wisdom, like our design, whatever, is going to let it come through and happen. I have no part in that, nothing I have to do. But what Olivia is really saying here is, this process feels traumatizing and violent to me. Like that's the way it looks to me. And so you can imagine, and any of us can see this in anything in our life, it looks traumatizing and violent, and she's about to step into it. So that's a thing. And really, even deeper than that, what this really, really comes down to is, what is trauma? Like, what is this violent experience? And really, what is our experience? Like, where does that come from? Because I can tell you it doesn't come from childbirth. Now, Olivia, the process of childbirth seems traumatizing and violent to you. I get that. But I want you to see that in every moment of your life, it doesn't feel exactly the same. I'm just painting this for like illustration. You might have moments where childbirth seems to you really violent and really traumatizing, and then you probably have moments where it maybe seems a little bit less so. Someone else, they might have moments where it feels even more traumatizing and violent than it does to you, and they might have moments, I'm sure they do, where it seems a little less so. Find a different person, it probably doesn't seem traumatizing or violent at all. So what that shows us is that it isn't the event. The event isn't doing it. For each one of us, and not in a stable way within each one of us, for each one of us in each and every second of our lives, literally, thought is coming up and bringing an experience to life within us. And then we're saying, ooh, that's traumatizing. That's violent. That's scary. I don't like that. This one's okay. I do like that. More of this, please. Like we're in that every single moment of our lives. And because it's different for each one of us moment to moment, and because it's different for you than it is for me, than it is for someone else, we're not seeing like what's there. We're just having our own inner experience of it. And that is always changing. Now, I know Olivia, and I know you a little bit, Olivia, and I know that you know that. But what I want you to see and everyone to see is that in a much deeper way, much deeper, because we can know that with our little minds and it can do nothing for us. But we can really have a glimpse of that, and all it takes is a little glimpse and it can change everything. So that's what we're working with here. Not like, you know, a big breadth of something like, let's see more about this. It's like, no, it's one tiny little thing. It's seeing that we have this experience that comes up to life within us moment to moment, but seeing that in a far, far deeper way, a much more profound way. Because when we do, that literally changes it for us. It takes care of everything. So if your experience is painful, unbearable, traumatizing, there may be moments of that. I might even say there were moments of my birth experiences that were that, right? Like we can call them that, like maybe that is our experience in a given moment. But I want you, Olivia, to see that if that's your experience in a given moment, that's your experience. Now, there's something other than our experience. Like our experience is brought to life within us, yes. And for 99.9% of us, 99.9% of the time, we just walk around being one with our experience. Ooh, like it, don't like it, feeling it, not feeling it, scared, not scared, like constantly. And and that's okay. That's not a problem. Like we are just kind of collapsed with our experience most of our lives, most of us, all the time. So when that's the case, of course we're going to fear something that seems traumatizing. It's going to like take over, and we have this whole image of it as being this experience that's going to just be us and suck us in and swallow us up, and it's this horrible, scary thing. But it's not. That's just one way we can kind of sit with and feel it. You know, it can feel that way. There's a whole range of ways we can kind of be with that, or stuff we can sort of see around it. And what I want you to see, if you're having that kind of experience, any of us in any area of life, again, having that kind of experience, we can start to get on to the fact that it's experience. Period. That it's experience is gigantic. Now, it can also feel like nothing, and it can also feel like you're mad. Like I've heard that from my mentors and from my teachers and people at times, and say, screw you, because fine, you're going to tell me my experience isn't anything, but my experience is terrifying, or I hate it, or, you know, whatever it is. And again, I get that. Like when we are kind of collapsed with our experience, or we're feeling collapsed with our experience, what I just said, like seeing that it's experience, you're probably throwing stuff at your screen right now, and you should be, with good reason. That's understandable. But there's also like a so much bigger, deeper way to see this. To see that it's experience. Well, we know something about experience. Experience comes to life within us. It's created by one of an infinite number of directions thought travels. So thought is bringing, maybe in a second, an experience of terror or trauma. Maybe in the next second, it could bring an experience of a lessening of that. It could bring peace. It could bring gratitude. It could bring neutrality. It could bring a little bit less trauma. It could bring anything. And that's what we want to start to see. Oh, this is experience. It's kind of like saying, oh, this is a movie I'm watching. This is a movie I'm watching. Now, it's a movie that's brought to life within us, and like, again, it feels like us, so it's never going to really feel like that. It is, I shouldn't say never, it is going to sometimes feel like that, but for the most part, I mean, we're in it, right? It's not like we go through life feeling like we're in a movie, and that's wonderful. I don't want to go through life feeling like I'm in a movie. I mean, we're full in it, and we should be. That's wonderful. But you can have it both ways, you know? You can be full on in life and have this amazing, vivid experience come up within you regularly, all the time, every moment of your life. And also know, and especially in times like this, have that deeper knowing, oh, this isn't me being out of control. This isn't I'm in danger. This is horrible and leaving a mark on me. This isn't childbirth. This isn't any of that. This is an experience that's showing up within me of trauma, period. And experience is always changing. Experience is always coming and going. And it isn't what it seems like. It's an experience. It's the movie that's playing. It's not life. You're okay. Your mind's just creating trauma. And knowing that, and don't think about this like, don't try to take this on as a intellectual strategy you're going to bring into childbirth with you, but kind of, again, knowing that in this bigger, deeper way. Wow, we humans walk through life experiencing all kinds of stuff brought to life, and in such a way that it's all we know and all we see, and it just absolutely looks so real, but it's our experience. There's a huge difference there. It's our experience. And when you start to get a feel for that, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, there's almost like a safety, a space, a gap, a something that comes up, because we see, oh, this is something coming to life within me. It's not me. It's not life. It's not what's happening right now. This is the inner created experience that's happening right now. It changes things in big ways, and not in every moment. So it's not going to protect you from feeling trauma during childbirth. You wouldn't be the first. Like it's an experience that comes up, but what it starts to do is help us be so much less afraid of that. Take it so much less seriously and heavy, and oh no, I have to figure this out. I need to change my experience so I don't feel that. Good luck. I mean, that's never worked for anyone, really. Not in any kind of consistent way. We don't get to pick and change our inner brought to life experience. But it's so much better than that. We don't have to. We don't have to put in all that effort and energy trying to change that. We get to just see it as experience, feel a whole bunch of it, and know, okay, yeah, this is just one of an infinite number of ways that life could be showing up within me right now. This is the one that's showing up. All right. Around the phobia around being sick as well, I just kind of want to throw that in and see that that's the same thing. It's no different. There's a thing that happened. I mean, you have this inner experience of, oh no, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be sick. Or sometimes with people, it's seeing other people be sick, or whatever it is, the whole experience around that. It's brought to life in a particular way that feels very uncomfortable for us. And this goes for any phobia or any fear. There's a content, a story, a whole thing for you. It's around being sick that's brought to life in a way that feels horrible. But it's not that. Like that's this experience that's coming within us, and we can start to see, okay, when I feel this stuff, that's just the way that life's showing up for me. That's just the way this energy, it's like the turn the energy is taken in that moment. Now, boom, this is what I'm given. But it isn't that. That thing isn't scary. That thing isn't dangerous. That's the funny thing with phobias, is everyone knows that. No one thinks that there's, I mean, maybe sometimes they do, but for the most part, people who are onto it, they're like, well, I know that I'm not actually in danger, but it's so scary. Yeah, but it's so scary part, that's where we want to slow down and back up and rise up and see it up here. Like, yes, there's a thought created experience within you that's saying, red alert, scary, danger. That is not the way it really is. Like, that's just the experience of it. And we can start to feel that, not need to change it. Feel it. Let it be brought to life, because we have no choice anyway. And oh, this is just this is sensation. This is racing. This is mind racing. Okay. And before you know it, it changes. Like, it's fuzzy. It's not this solid thing. Oh no, this is scary. This is traumatic. This is that. No, it's a moment to moment. There's a fuzziness to it. And we want to get a sense of that fuzziness, because then it just doesn't have you any longer. It can't. It doesn't have you now, but for it looking solid and us thinking it has us. And we all have this in our own ways. We all have our own little versions of this. Like, I think this is a relatively minor one maybe, but there's there's something with one of my kids that I'm kind of like, just in the back of my mind, like, oh, I don't know, that might be something that my daughter, like that might be something she struggles with in life. I hope she doesn't struggle with that in life. No, she's a kid. I have no idea what her life's going to look like, but it's my own worry, right? So there's this little thing when I see that, oh, man, I sure hope she doesn't struggle with that in life. Now, does it make me not feel it? No, I totally feel it. Totally feel it. But when I know, and I just by knowing, I should say, that, oh, there's right now here today, and then there's this inner experience, and I'm feeling my inner experience, I start to get really on to the fact that, okay, when Willow does this thing that brings up this fear in me, that's what's happening. It's Willow doing this thing, fear brought up in me. It has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with Willow. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me needing to change my experience. It's just like it's just the movie that's on, and that movie plays, and I know that movie plays. I'm savvy about it, so I feel it, but I don't like spend months, hours, nights, up all night worrying about it. It's like an experience. So that's what I want, hopefully you and everyone, to kind of get a sense for in this, like it isn't traumatic. It isn't scary. It isn't whatever it appears to be. We have the experience of that, and we can let that experience just run and play and do whatever it needs to do. And the more we know it's not solid, it's not how it appears, the fuzzier it gets and the more it changes right before our eyes. And then that's what we call this mental and emotional freedom, is like, oh, I can feel and think things, and I'm not that worried about what I feel and think. Like, that's the best there is. That's freedom. It's this ironic way that change happens. Like, this is how we change. When we have a fear or a phobia or whatever it is around something like this, or even just in my case, like this little nagging worry that keeps coming back, this is how it changes. Is we get to a point where we see it as experience and we're not trying to change it. And then it changes. It's very ironic. And this is the whole premise of my podcast that's coming up, by the way. I think this time next week, hopefully all going well on the technical side, it should be out. But it's all about this, because this is how change happens. It's so ironic. We're all jumping in saying, okay, how do I make myself not afraid? How do I change this experience? How do I avoid this? How do I do that? How do I get rid of this phobia or get rid of this disorder I have? You do it by seeing all that stuff's not how it seems. It is not how it appears. It is experience that has you in its grips, but it doesn't. Like, we misunderstand it. We think it has us. There's nothing to it. There's nothing stable. There's nothing that has any power to actually bring us down. It's just that we innocently kind of get caught up in a temporary experience. We misunderstand it. And then all kinds of stuff happens, because then we're jumping in, intervening. Let me change it. Let me do this. And it's not good news. You don't want to try to change. You want change to happen. Change is always happening. We want to see how things work so we can get the heck out of the way and let it happen. So I hope this is helpful. And I hope it really opens our eyes to really kind of like just a peek behind the curtain, because it doesn't take much. That's all we need, is these little peeks behind the curtain that have what looks like this boulder in your experience start to look more like a hologram. As soon as the feelings, the fears, the stories, all that start to have that little fuzzy quality around the edges, where you're like, I don't know, this thing doesn't look as real as it used to. It doesn't look like it used to. I don't think I need to do anything about that. Like, maybe it's starting to dissolve on its own. You're good. And that's all we're ever doing, is kind of chipping away at this illusion that doesn't look like an illusion. So thank you guys so much for being here every Monday and listening. Again, as I mentioned, my podcast, it's called Changeable. I'm hoping this time next week it's out, and we're starting with 7 episodes. So there'll be 7 episodes there to listen to right off the bat. Get on my newsletter list if you aren't already, because that's where I'll announce when it's live. It's on my website at dramyjohnson.com. And I wanted to mention that the Little School Big Change is reopening soon. October 1st is the date. Leading up to that, I have a brand new, totally free 4-part video masterclass that I'm putting out. 4 like 30-minute videos that, again, have nothing to do with, you don't have to be in the school, you don't have to buy the school or join the school, but it's a really awesome series of videos that I've been working so hard on this summer. So those are going to be coming your way September 20th. So to make sure that you get that free series, that you, if you're interested in the school, that you know when everything's happening there, sign up for the wait list. Just join the wait list at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and that way you'll be the first to know as things start moving and happening. So it's coming. We're already almost in September, but hope you guys have had a great summer. Hope you have a great last couple weeks of summer, and I'll see you back here next Monday.